Okay, this is it. This is going to be my Ryzen Threadripper budget build. Now keep in mind that when dealing with a Threadripper CPU, the word budget is going to be relative, and it kind of is. I think this thing topped out way over my initial budget of $2,500. I haven't really added up just yet to see where I'm at. But I was planning this build out for what must have been over a year. I've been collecting parts for about 6 months, and I put a lot of thought in everything I want just to get this computer running. Now it's not going to be a gaming PC because I'm not really that hardcore into gaming, but I will start doing it now. The computer I have now is never able to handle actual games, which is why I never got into gaming. Now that I have a computer that can pretty much run anything at 4K or maybe even 8K, probably on ultra settings and not even break a sweat, I'm probably going to get into a little bit of gaming. But this computer is designed to be a video editing machine. One big issue I've had with the YouTube channel recently is I have so much stuff on backlog that I want to edit, but with my computer acting up, I haven't been able to edit anything. And when you're running a 2007 Dell Optiplex 745, which has been jerry-rigged to have 8 gigs of RAM and a super sketchy like GT710 Nvidia card, it's not really the most powerful system in the world, and glitches are bound to happen. But with this, the whole design is to be as reliable, as consistent, as OP as possible, and I think I met that. Well, time to start the build. Oh, I should mention, I am not a professional PC builder. This is technically the very first PC I've built on my own. Actually no, this is the very first PC I've built at all. I've never built a PC before. I've been messing with computers ever since I was a kid, back in elementary school, taking them apart, modding them and everything, but I've never actually built one from the ground up. And you're gonna know that I'm not a professional builder from a lot of stuff I do in this video. But if I can do it, anyone can, right? So this is not a tutorial. Don't do what I do. Do better stuff. Be better. Plus ultra. Go beyond. I think I got that order mixed up. Now the board I'm using is an Asus ROG STRIX X-399E gaming board. I actually ended up getting this used, well not used, but somebody bought it and then decided they didn't want to use it and then sold it on Facebook Marketplace. I ended up getting it from that person for about $300, which at the time was about $80 cheaper than what they were selling for on Amazon. And the person's actually really cool, another weird little computer nerd. And yeah, I think I ended up making a friend when I bought this motherboard, so that's always a win. Okay, so this right here is the first part I bought out of everything in this build. It is an AMD Ryzen Threadripper 2950X, which is a pretty beastie processor, to be honest with you. What the hell? This is a really complicated box to open. It's a lot more hardcore than anything I thought I would actually be getting, and it's actually the first part I bought. This is what set off the whole build. I bought it on Amazon Prime Day. I think it was about $499. So this is the sticker for the CPU thing, the bracket for the water cooler, which I'm not going to be using, and a torque wrench to tighten the CPU. And it would just seem like too good of a deal to pass up. So once I bought the processor, it just got the whole ball rolling, and I'm pretty happy I did it. Probably one of my better impulse buys. I'm really hoping this doesn't go as bad as that Verge video did. To open, go 3, 2, and then 1. So here's 3, here's 2, and then 1. There's that. Okay, so now I gotta pull this little thing out with the blue tabs. Okay, so now to pull the processor out here. Oh man, this is actually kind of nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. This goes in here with this little plastic caddy. That's in. Now to close that down. So to close, you tighten down number 1 first. Okay, so you gotta go until you hear the clicks, because this is a torque wrench actually. There you go. And now for the M.2 SSD, which is gonna go right in there. Underneath here, under the I think I Have Horus logo, is gonna be where the M.2 SSD is gonna go. Now for storage, I'm using a 970 EVO 1TB M.2 SSD. I got it for about $169, and this is going to be my main primary drive. It's going to house my operating system, and for a while I'm going to be editing and placing files on this drive as well. That is one of the perks of getting a 1TB drive. Now installing this is extremely simple. All you need to do is take off this cover right here that has the arrow force on it, and once that's out, take the M.2 SSD, slide it in at approximately a 30-degree angle into the slot. Then take the standoff screw that's included with the motherboard, screw that in to the corresponding hole that matches the size of your M.2 SSD, and then push the SSD down and put the screw that attaches the M.2 SSD to the standoff. Then replace the aluminum heatsink after you attach the heat tape that is on the heatsink. So up next is something that's pretty important for video editing, and that's going to be the RAM. Now this particular motherboard is actually a quad channel board with 8 separate DIMM slots, so I had to get at least 4 sticks of RAM. Now with this particular board, the maximum amount of RAM that's supported is 128 gig, and I didn't want to waste my money having to buy a new RAM kit later on if I wanted to upgrade. So what I ended up doing is getting some G.SKILL Trident RGB RAM at 3200 MHz. Now it's not the fastest RAM out there, but it's a pretty decent mid-range speed for a Ryzen processor, which from what I've heard, they take to faster RAM pretty well, and it really increased the overall performance of the CPU and stuff. Anyway, so I got two 32GB sticks for I believe about $139 or $137 per kit. So it gives me 4 sticks of 16GB of RAM, totaling to 64 gig. Now one thing I should mention, with DDR4 RAM, the DIMM is a bit different compared to DDR3 in the Prime model. On DDR3 and earlier they have 2 clips, on DDR4 just 1 clip. So it is a bit different, but it's just the same way of opening clip, push RAM in, close clip. And with it being a quad channel board and me only using half of them, you want to double check the manual and make sure you're putting the RAM in the correct DIMM to get the maximum performance out of it. Again, quad channel and dual channel boards do require them to go in certain bays if you're not using all the bays. Okay, so the next step is to install the motherboard into the case. Normally most people would install the CPU cooler as well onto the board outside of the case, but because of how big the cooler that I'm using is, I'm going to save that for a little bit later. So I'm going to get the case, place it on the table, install the power supply without installing any of the power connectors, bolt that in, and then install the motherboard standoffs, place the motherboard in the case with AIO shield in, and go from there. The case I'm using for this build is a deepCool matrexx 55, at least I think that's how you'd say it. It's a ETX case that's a mid-tower, and the version I got came with 3 RGB fans on the front, which are ML120s included in the case, along with an RGB strip. Now with the slightly upgraded model, you also get a power supply basement or shroud. I'm not too sure if it's removable because I couldn't figure out how to get it out, and I ended up having to pull the power supply in from the back side. The power supply that I did use is the EVGA 850GS. It's pretty much as good as it gets in terms of power supplies for that particular size. Very happy with it. It's fully modular. It's a lot smaller than I was expecting, so it fit in the case no problem. It looks cool. It has, I believe, a 10-year warranty on it. And I'm not too sure how much the power supply was because I did end up buying it at this in-person online store here in Vegas called PC Outlet, and the case itself was $79.99. I'll put the price of the power supply. Now there's no getting around the fact that a Threadripper is a pretty toasty CPU, so I had to go kind of bigger on the CPU cooler side of it. For the longest time I thought about getting an AIO like a Corsair H100i or 115i or whatever they have, but the more and more I looked into the whole liquid cooling thing, the more I saw instances of pumps failing and leaks occurring and things like that, and I really just didn't want to deal with that headache, so I decided to go with an air cooler. More specifically, the Cooler Master Threadripper, which is specifically designed for the AMD Ryzen Threadripper CPU. Now I'm gonna be honest, it is kind of overpriced. I paid $119 for it and like $120 something $129 after taxes. I paid $130 for a air cooler that costs more than most liquid coolers. And I'm going to be honest, the main reason I got that over the NOC 201 is because it had RGB lights on it and I thought it looked cool. I gotta admit it. That was it. That was the only reason. It looked cool, and it does look really cool, and it's keeping my CPU pretty cool too. Usually it idles anywhere from 38 to 45 degrees ish. When the computer's under load, the highest I've seen while playing Apex Legends, while editing a YouTube video, while editing sound, and watching Netflix on Firefox all at the same time was about 68-ish degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm not too sure how accurate that is because the application said I was only using 33% of my CPU, so I'm not too sure about the accuracy of the application itself, even though it is the Asus CPU modder app. One other thing is I didn't want to add in too much heat and have it stagnate in the case, so on top of the CF120 fans that came with the case, I bought 3 more on Amazon and put 2 of them on the top where the radiator would have gone and 1 in the rear. So I have in total 5 fans are sucking air in and then 1 is exhausting, plus the fan on the CPU, plus the 2 fans on the graphics card, which I'll get to next. Okay, so I got the CPU cooler in, but my memory card died. But it's in now. Next step is to put in 3 more fans because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need them, especially since I'm running a Threadripper without water cooling. So, more fan time. I did get the same deepCool fans that came with the case. These are called, what are they called? Like CRF 120s or something. They're nothing too hardcore. They're definitely not the most high quality fans out there, but they came with a case. I might as well get a matching set. It's about $44 for 3 of them. Looks more like a motorcycle engine than an actual car, or than a computer. But they do come with a power splitter along with a addressable RGB splitter, which I will be needing. Okay, this is the moment. EVGA RTX 2080 Super RGB. This is the last and final piece to pop in. This is the single most expensive part of the whole computer. Well, that is an experience to open it up. Oh my god. Dude, that's an actual medallion to stick on the computer. Oh my god. They don't just give you the little sticker placket, they give you a full-on medallion. Like a DVI to HDMI adapter. Oh my god. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, now it's the moment of truth. Trying to put this graphics card in here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of shaking a little bit. Wow, that looks crazy. It looks absolutely insanely good. So it looks like with this particular cooler, you can't use the top PCIe port. So because of how big the actual Threadripper cooler is, I will have to be moving the graphics card down to the next PCI X16 slot right here. Oh boy, it's a big card. It covers the, damn it, it covers the aura thing. It completely covers the whole IO Horse thing, or whatever the ROG logo is. Okay, so now all that's left to do is basically plug everything in. It looks absolutely sick right there. I'm just gonna plug in the power cables, the main panel I or front panel IO. Make sure all the SATA connectors are hooked up, and get this thing going.
I'm still a little salty though. The graphics card covers the Eye of Horus thing, but I can't wait to see all the RGB stuff come on, dude. I'm so pumped. And the camera's about to die. Perfect. Good timing. Okay, so the PC is pretty much fully built up, and I gotta admit, it looks insane. And upon cursory tests of the computer, it runs amazing. Cables are relatively well managed, by my standards especially. I'm gonna do some tests on this thing, see how everything works out. Everything in this thing is insane. All the RGB RAM, the RGB 2080, the RGB CPU cooler, the RGB fans all look amazing. And it was actually a pretty easy case to build in. The front of it looks great. It lets in quite a bit of airflow, and so far, with everything I've done, this computer hasn't really broken the 40 degrees Celsius mark yet. I love this little light. And all the fans and this light are running on the same addressable header. So I should be able to set it all up once I get the Aura Sync done. Also, the G.SKILL RAM is also Aura Sync compatible, and so is the Threadripper cooler. I don't know about the 2080, the graphics card, because that hasn't really been shifting at all. This deepCool matrexx 55 case is amazing. This looks like something out of an Alien movie or whatever. Like, it's hard to believe that this is my computer. I did it, man. I got the full beast mode build going on. I even love the power switch right here. That just looks so nice. Okay, so basically here I am editing the video, getting it ready to be posted, and the computer looking amazing. And doing an amazing job with this video file. It's editing it like it's nothing. And I think the CPU temp is only like 41 degrees. It's literally barely feeling, oh, actually I don't think that's, no. So yeah, CPU temperature is 46 degrees right now. The computer barely feels anything. It's pretty insane just how easy it is for this computer to run relatively complex and difficult tasks. It is truly amazing. But one thing is, I did do the adding up of all the components, and with sales tax, I'm sitting at about $2,500, which is actually exactly where I want it to be as far as the budget of this computer was concerned. And I'm quite happy with that. Not only do I have a 2080, granted it's not a TI, but it is a Super, and I have a mid-range Ryzen processor, even though the new Ryzen processor come out. And I do have an X399 board, again, even though the newer socket is out. But I'm still extremely happy with the performance of this computer, especially for $2,500 when you compare it to some of the other things out there. Like, it's through each of this video file like it's nothing. I can load up Apex or Fortnite or GTA 5 or whatever game I put on this thing, run ultra settings with ray tracing on there, and it handles it like nothing. I am going to be making a separate video, probably like just 20 minutes long, just benchmarking the hell out of this thing and running through all of its capabilities. But this video is already pushing the 16 to 17 minute mark, and I don't want to make it any longer than it already is. And I'm pretty sure that's where the people's attention span is going to be like, eh, no. But it is amazing. I'm truly happy with just what this computer is doing and how well it does it. And for what I want it to do, I think it'll handle it extremely well. Just look at that. One gripe I do have with this particular matrexx case, or 55 or whatever, no matter how beautiful it is a big case, man. It is massive. It's pretty huge. And that does kind of take up quite a bit of desk space. You know, quite a bit. But man, am I happy with this. It all looks so good. Like I said earlier, it really doesn't even look like a computer. It looks like some kind of alien technology. You know how in those Scooby-Doo cartoons from back in the day, the alien tech always has light pipe instead of wires? That's pretty much what this is in my head anyway. Well, if you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more videos of me benchmarking this thing, I'm working on a Nintendo Wii video right now. Subaru stuff, Drift Mustang stuff. Hit subscribe. I got so much stuff to edit, and it's going to be coming out like rapid fire. Anyway, hit subscribe and do whatever else you do on the internet. Have a good one.